Susan, I'm going to mention your conflict of interest.
Yeah, we're live.
Excellent. All right, so we're live streaming, so I think we will start our meeting. So welcome everyone to Kia ora koto. This is the service delivery meeting for the 19th of February, and I'd like to invite Hinerangi if she would open the meeting with a karakia. Thank you.
Ka pai mōrena kia tātou. Tātou kua pai nei I tēnei ata tāhua I raru I te maru. I raru I te tāhuhu o tō tātou nei whare. A tēnei ka mihi atu ki tō tātou ariki nui a Queenie ngā waihono I te pō. Kei te tuku atu ngā whakaaro ki ai I tēnei wā. Ka pai, tū taua mai I runga, tū taua mai I raro, tū taua mai I roto, tū taua mai I waho. Kia tau ai te Māori tū, te Māori ora, mō te kingitanga, mō te ao katoa, haumi e hui e, tā e ki e. Kia ora mai tātou.
Thank you, Hinerangi. Okay, so now first up, any apologies? Now I've got apologies for Councillor Gow, who's away on personal business, and I don't think there's anyone else absent. So with that, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you. Liz is going to move and Dale Marie is going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Disclosure of members' interests. Now, Mayor Susan has already indicated that she has a conflict of interest with the Sport Waikato presentation and that she's a trustee for Sport Waikato. So I'm just expecting you not to take part in any of the discussions during that time. Thank you. Any other disclosures though? Excellent. Thank you. Are there any late items? Good. So then could we have confirmation of the order of the meeting? Thank you. I think Andrew's going to move and Philip's going to second. Thank you. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thanks. And now we get on to the confirmation of our minutes, which is in tab 5 for the meeting of the 10th of December. The minutes have been pre-circulated. I'm happy to move from the chair that they're a true and correct record. And I think Lou, just by a whisker, you beat Roger. So we'll take you. Yeah, all in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And then we move on to the Sport Waikato update. And I can see Brad Ward there. Welcome, Brad. I hand over to you to introduce the subject. I'm not sure if you're going to be speaking to it. Look, there's some...
Morena tātou. We did have Matthew Cooper on his way as well, but he's been a little bit held up. So it's just myself and Hayden Westerby today. Just to introduce these guys, you'll be familiar with both Hayden and Matthew if he does make it. And you'll also be aware that FY reports are now tending to go on the radar. But this one comes to us because it's part of our agreement with Sport Waikato that they do come to service delivery twice a year. So this is our first one. And I'll hand over to Hayden to speak to the highlights of his report.
Thank you, Brad. Morena, ko Hayden aho. Apologies on behalf of Matthew, who is on his way, but we might just flick it around. I'll do my bit first and we'll see what happens. So the report just to be taken as read, but I'd very much like just to highlight a few things that have been going on specifically within the Waipa region. I'll start, so I'll continue. Would you like to carry on?
Yes,
We're just going to flick it around.
No, that's okay. No, I'm in.
He's in.
Hang on, we've got your... Sorry, team, I'm a little bit late there. Right, here we go. Well, firstly, kia ora, and thank you for the opportunity to present the 6-month report of Sport Waikato on behalf of Hayden and myself. Take it as read. Firstly, what I would say is we are keeping quite a strong, close eye, most like you are, on the new priorities and focus of our government. We just have got a new sports minister in Mark Mitchell, so we're having changes as well in terms of the government. We know that you're working through your LTP process, which will begin very shortly, or currently involved, but very shortly. Just on Sport New Zealand, I'd just like to mention to Council Brent Sheldrake, who is our partnership manager, along with us, is looking to develop specifically a stronger relationship with Waipa District Council alongside Hamilton and Waikato. So it's not exclusive to all TAs. So Sport New Zealand have seen over time the growth and the role that this district has played, whether it be at Karapiro or in Cambridge, but also the role that you play in community participation and what you're doing around creating opportunities for Waipa residents to be active. So they see, and they've noticed this. So what that does mean, and we're working very closely with Sally Sheedy in this as well. Certainly want to acknowledge Sally's leadership and connect. Sport New Zealand have a very strong acknowledgement of Sally's skill set in our sector, and it's been seen as a really quite a strong influencer in the sport and recreation field. So I just want to acknowledge Sally in that space as well. I think she's, sorry, Sally. Sorry, I didn't see you there, but I just wanted to say that the relationship that has been developing, and it's very strong because I think the leverage opportunities now that Sport New Zealand have identified Waipa is really positive. In fact, that we can, for greater leverage around national initiatives as well, that could happen. So just a big positive there. Sport New Zealand's Tūmanua Fund in the last 6 months has noted $58,000 that have gone to delivery programs in the Waipa district. That's related to a fund out of Sport New Zealand, which we facilitate at Sport Waikato, which has a reach, and over and above that, there is an additional $160,000 for regional programs that also take place at least in part of or in the district. So that's the direct 58,000, which is really, really neat that we can work through that. We want more coming through, and we're working on that as well. And we're also finally, before I pass over to Hayden, beginning to make plans for our Moving Waikato 25 survey of communities across the region. So we've got a lot of good information around coach, around tamariki kids, secondary school people, but we really want to try and find more about adult participation. So we're going to be doing that over the next few months as well. And to that actually helps. So what's that mean for you as a council? It means we can inform strategic and long-term plans, and we can establish priorities for our facilities and clubs here in Waipa. I'm just pleased my face recognition worked when I arrived and turned on my laptop. I would have been in real trouble if it didn't recognise my face. Council, thanks very much. I'll pass over to Hayden, and I know there'll be questions, but just wanted to really say acknowledge you. I know it's a busy time for you all, but certainly as a partner, we're very committed to really focusing on how do we get as many of our district and the Waipa moving. I'm a great believer. Fortunately, in sport's been a great thing for me in terms of creating opportunity, but it's not just about sport now. It's about recreation. It's about movement. Is the real key. So it doesn't. We know that kids are the new generation of children are different, and the traditions of playing sport, running cross countries. We've got to be realised that this is here now. Technology is here. How do we best use technology? And because the generation Alpha, which is year 1 to year 8, Mike, I've got that year 1 to year 8 is Gen Alpha. They only know about technology. I grew up in the non-internet era. So we've got to embrace what esports, those things can actually help. Believe it or not, esports, the two biggest sports at the moment where young kids recognise players are American football and basketball, and it's because of those games that they play. They recognise the names. Our most known rugby player still in the world is Jonah Lomu, and Jonah passed at 2013. So that just gives you an indication of where the world's heading around esports and technology. Hayden.
Thank you very much. Great little segue. Catch your breath.
Yeah.
I think last time we were here, we talked around some surveying that's starting to take place within primary schools. So there's two clusters within Cambridge and Te Awamutu that combined, that's 27 schools. That surveying is now taking place by Anton and Sarah, our primary learning partners. And that includes obviously establishing those relationships from the beginning, helped by the fact that they're both local. And the idea being to upskill teacher content knowledge, improve their delivery and practice, obtain voice of tamariki, and then encourage funding into specific projects. A cluster profile is being produced, although not quite ready to share just yet. I know that there was some interest potentially if there's an opportunity that could be shared. Surveying voice of coach, 699 coaches. One of our staff members claimed that they didn't fill it out, so that would have made 700, but I think 699 is more believable. But showed a different experience for new coaches. So those coaches with less than 2 years experience have a really hard time to get going. And then seasoned coaches, obviously, once you can survive the first 2 years, things become a little bit easier for you. What's been shown there is that the blend of support that's required at different times changes. And so the project's starting to work with RSOs in terms of what that could start to look like. And most excitingly is a cross-sport type project, so not sport-specific necessarily, because we also know that coaches who are involved in the winter very often are the same people that are involved in the summer. Aligned to that is a replay project, which is in partnership with the University of Waikato and actually being run out of Te Awamutu Sports at the moment. There's 3 sessions that have taken place to outline the project and to get it underway. And delivery is due to start for the next 10 to 12 weeks. And then evaluation and reporting goes back to the university, I believe, in August, September time. So very excited to see the outcomes of that. And I think pairing those two together, there's a certain paradox that new coaches find it easiest to do sort of a traditional model of lines and drills and wait your turn because that's quite controllable for people to start. On the other side, the children don't enjoy that quite so much. If we flick it around and try and get the coaches doing a games-based approach, it looks a bit chaotic. And unless you're used to sort of being able to manage chaos, then that's quite uncomfortable for the coaches. So just trying to get the blend of that. We have done quite a lot of work with Aquatic Insights and in the Waipa district. We know we've counted 43 pools in the district, the average age of which is 46 years old. And again, it's around, to use the word again, it's about the blend of what's available in terms of managing learn to swim, fitness, and recreational opportunities. It's not so much how much water we have, it's sort of the type of water and the layout of water. There is a webinar which relevant council staff have been invited to unpack those district-specific findings and to understand the regional network considerations taking place in March. We're also working towards our play, active recreation and sport plan. And we're working towards a workshop with councillors in March to outline that in full, along with some agreed action plans and that to go forward and to monitor each other. And then lastly, definitely be getting out and about and seeing the wonderful work projects. Been supporting the Lake Naroto review and Katapira online as well, and helping Anna from Exist, who's done a marvellous job there. Still working with RDA groups, Te Pāhu Squash, Te Awamutu Football as examples. And yesterday I was with a dance therapy group just taking place on George Street. Wonderful, well attended, 40 people for, I guess, participants with additional needs. And definitely we need to support that wherever we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hayden, and great to have you here as well, Matthew. And yeah, I know what you mean about that anxiety to do with face recognition, definitely. All right. On your iPad. All right, so we do have some questions. I'm not surprised, so I'll lead off with Lou.
Yeah, just quickly, thanks guys for what you're doing out there. It's working very well. I was very, very keen on the replay program that you're doing.
Yes.
And the approach that we're doing with that, because what it's doing is giving our young coaches a bit of ability to get out there and change the concept that it's not totally competitive. It's about participation and getting them involved. And that's really great, Skibbity. And we're hoping to see that develop, as I say, in conjunction with everybody in the Waikato University to get, forward with that and see if we can develop that even further. Very keen.
Lou, thank you. There's still very competitive kids out there. But what I'm saying, and that's a good thing. And they will they will rise to the top. So we've still got some very talented Waipa kids there that will play for Waikato, will play netball. And what we're doing around replay is there is a lot that aren't competitive. So what's the hook to bring them in? And so what we think with replay, it's really trying to change their experience, that they will get game time. They won't sit on the bench. They will have a chance to have, and everything around what the coach is going to his head will be a quality experience. What's the experience when that kid arrives on the ground, on the grass, has a chance to play, and then goes home, tells mum and dad that was good fun. So that's the one there. So don't worry, we will still produce All Blacks or whatever. The virtual thing that we're doing now, we're starting to get into these VR headsets, and where you can play, you can box, you can play cricket, you can play golf. We've put those glasses on kids who have never played sport in their life. They've had an experience of half an hour. They're sweating, they're puffing, and it's just a game changer in giving kids who have never had the opportunity to think what movement could be. And so we're getting right into this. We think there's a real avenue to work with our schools around the role of VR, and this is different, Lou. It's different from the old pine tree. Pine tree means will be turning in his grave, but it's an opportunity to get those who have never thought that they could be active. So that's all part of this.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so Mike and Del Marie, do you want? Yeah, so you next.
Thanks for the chair. Thank you guys for your presentation. Hey, just like 3 or 4 points I've got here. One is just Hayden picked up on coaches and things, and a lot of the coaches, I think working with kids, coaching seems to be easier, and I think parents see that, and a lot of it is around the behaviour management, and that's the one thing they struggle with of little Johnny's not doing the right thing and how to deal with it appropriately. So some more tips on that would be, I think, beneficial in getting that out. That's the one thing that probably challenges them to not put their hand up or not enjoy it as sometimes that they should. So some little tips there. Pickleball, you talked about it sort of, it's more than just sport. It's about involvement, active play, and that sort of thing. And that pickleball is a great example that all ages and across all sorts of little courts and indoor and outdoor and that sort of thing. It's just a fantastic sport that at first I probably took the mickey out of, but I had a couple of games and you puff. You are active, absolutely active, and you're having a good laugh at the same time. So hey, supporting that particular sport, which is probably come out of America maybe, and just maybe an opportunity, and there's probably work done in this space, but trying to motivate, in that corporate or groups of people working together and trying to get those corporate challenges, if we just call them corporate challenges, and that's something that Sport Waikato, would be really good front and centre to try and push those out. Because if it comes from an organisation, it can be quite easy then to grab, a few staff to whatever the challenge is and take it on. Not high level stuff, but the active participation stuff. But with people, it also creates team bonding and all the rest of it, which is what businesses and groups of corporates are often looking for. And just a little update on that Cambridge school hockey turf. So just a little update on that, because I haven't actually caught up with it too much apart from just hearing bits and bobs about it.
We'll have to go back on that one, Mike, because there'll be Shane Brody, who's our spaces and places thing. So we'll come back to you on that. Couple of things. Any more points there? No.
No, done.
Pickleball. Pickleball is an interesting one. I too was a little bit, just the name, I thought this is, and then once I played, and I've only played recently. The interesting one around pickleball is who's been probably more opposed racket sports. Yeah, that's really interesting. That racket sports, tennis and badminton are the ones that are pushing back on you playing pickleball in our facility. I would have thought that it's a racket, sort of a racket, it's a paddle tennis, or a table tennis bat we used to call them. And I would have thought they would have embraced it. Australia Tennis has bought the rights to pickleball. So how smart is that? So Australia Tennis has actually said, no, we're going to embrace pickleball, because if a kid's playing pickleball and he loves it, he may hold a tennis racket one day. So it's interesting but I agree with you. That's we'll get back to you on Cambridge Turf, that program there as well. Was there anything else you had with
Yeah, I
Mike's?
think it's a great point you make, Mike, around the coaching. The idea of a modern way of coaching is to be
Yeah.
really working with players in terms of what they want, and so therefore from a behaviour management point of view, that prevention is better than cure. If we can actually get them, my background is school teaching and coaching, and once kids are actually playing the game, the amount of behaviour problems you have are very low. But if they're waiting in lines and there's not enough to get equipment and they're being lectured to, then that's when the problems can absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a place for
exactly.
that. I'm not, I've done enough to know that it's subtle.
No, thanks.
And that workplace, I think that's a good point. That workplace social sport. I certainly want to take that back. I think that's how many people are in our workplaces and you get them involved in our groups.
Yeah, because they're always looking for, or the leadership's always looking for opportunities, and it sort of comes to you, it's easy to present, and sort of a lot of work's done. Yeah, it'd be good.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Dale Marie and then Phil.
Tēnā kōrua. Thank you both for the kōrero. And yeah, I went through your report last night, and just listening to you, Matt, around participation and regionally as well. On the back of Tainui Games on the weekend,
Yes,
over
huge.
25,000 people that were there. And in your group, who's your iwi liaison at Sport Waikato now? Or,
Our kaumātua Sam Toka.
yeah, I can see Sam and I can see Parakawhia.
Sam involved, and we work through Dean Mackay is probably leading for us at the moment. So Dean's our professional learning lead, but also he takes a strong influence around iwi liaison. Parakawhia sits on our board, so Parakawhia McLean sit on our board.
Yeah, I'm aware with Parakawhia because I'm one of the governance members
Yes.
at Waikato Tainui as well.
Lovely.
However, Parakawhia is not down on the ground with us when we're looking at facilitating things like, are you aware of the precursor of the Wainganui Games?
Oh.
Yeah. So the Wainganui Games has been in existence for over 30 years. It usually happens biannually, and it happens at Kiki Domain usually. And so that usually can host up to 10 to 15,000 people per event as well. But what that one is that one encompasses marae as far as, do they go over the river? Yeah, they go over into Raukawa lands. It goes as far as Te Nehe Nui.
Yep.
And it also goes over the Waikato. Some people creep over the side of the river and jump into
Yes.
our games.
Yeah.
But the Wainganui Games was the precursor to the Tainui Games.
Right.
So, and amongst that is that, I can't remember seeing Sport Waikato at these Wainganui Games, and I'm an avid attender because I'm also at governance at Parawera Marae. So just picking up on those things, and that might be something that we have a talk to Dean Mackay, because I know that the planning's going in at the moment for Wainganui. That will be coming up in November, because Tū Manawa came up last night in conversations with some of those facilitators. Really stoked to see your guys' involvement with Lake Ngaroto and the review. That is really awesome. And what was it? And I'm really keen to see the district specific findings too, that will be coming up in March. So tēnā kōrua.
Kia ora. Just a little comment there. Our involvement at Tainui Games was more about, we socialised our survey on the weekend, and that was more about a chance to socialise the importance of this big survey I spoke about to council just before. Councillor, we won't go to games to deliver. That's not who this organisation is now. We're a lot leaner, and we influence those. Our role is influence, and then we work with delivery organisations. That's to deliver, and that's where Tū Manawa fits in. So Tū Manawa is a Sport New Zealand fund, and we manage that in the Waikato region, like Sport Hawke's Bay would manage it in Hawke's Bay. And that's where we look for good delivery organisations. So that's how that fund is reaching. from a point of view of us actually doing delivery, it got confusing before we went through our big change in 2020, because we were a large organisation, probably taking a lot of funding, and that was to the detriment of the likes of iwi groups. That was to the detriment to the likes of, say, a Waikato Rugby or some of the school. There's so much funding going to Sport Waikato. So we decided, no, we want to be, what's our why? Our why is to influence, get very good quality people, be leaner, to work on the system, to work with very good delivery organisations. So we won't go out there and run bats and balls at games or sports. We will work with those deliverers and we will upskill them. That's our focus as a regional sports trust.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
No, I really appreciate your
But, no,
comments.
good.
Yeah.
Andrew, if you could ask your question, please.
Cheers, thanks. Hey, I just want to say I've tried the VR headset at Motat and it's top fun and it really gets you moving. There's no two ways about it. But my question is, you identified Waipa along with Hamilton and Waikato, maybe due for some national recognition in terms of funding. Any idea what form that might be taking?
It's just more than opportunities that we could lead to national initiatives. It's more about Sport New Zealand. The focus is probably more, councillor, around the growth. So and it's obviously the Waipa district, Hamilton City. So what they've identified across you'll know better than me, how many have we got? 84, 83 or 84 local government. They've identified a group of around about, I suppose, 25 or 30 of the growing big ones where they want to just make sure there's a stronger connect and so Brent Sheldrake's very good worker. He works a lot. So we will have 2 or 3 conversations where we sit down with Sally and we will have conversations around what's happening with Sport New Zealand, where are the opportunities alongside Sport Waikato that we could actually maybe just supercharge things or we could actually expand. So that's really, that's where that one was from. So I played cricket the other day with one of those headsets, and I was in our room at Sport Waikato. There was a crowd of 40,000, and I struggled for the first 2. He was very quick when he came in and bowled. Then I finally got down and I nailed one, and it went really high and it went into the crowd, and they roared. This headset on. They were roaring, and I was so happy. I walked up, all of a sudden I heard people yelling, "Matthew!" And I walked straight into our wall. At work, and I just remember, gee, that was very real, actually, councillor.
Oh, look, thank you very much. Great question, Andrew, as well. I've just got a couple of questions myself. I noticed that there's a homeschool specific survey currently under development. It'd be great if the outcomes of that could be shared. That was, to do with the specific insights, and communities, needs, I guess. What page is that? That's part of the table. It's on page 22 of our agenda. But it was part of the Voice of Tamariki and Moving Waikato Youth Survey, and then it said a homeschool specific survey is currently under development.
Yes, and part of that is more of a lead or getting a better understanding around neurodiverse. And
Right.
so we're very keen to understand more around, and we want to see if we need to up our expertise in the space around the benefits between movement and neurodiverse, knowing that probably our school system, it's now probably a very big part of our school system than what it possibly was many years ago, that the neurodiverse kids. And so what is the role of an organisation that's mandate is around movement, and where are the correlation and linkages that could actually help a lot with this neurodiversity?
Oh, look, I'm really rapt to hear that, actually. I really commend you guys for, turning your minds to that, actually. I mean, I read, is it 25% of
Right.
young people, have got some kind of, they're on that spectrum of neurodiversity.
Yes.
So that's really great. And just the last question I had was, right at the end, it talked about the regional aquatic plan.
Yes.
And for Waipa District, we have a total surplus of 990 metres squared of aquatic water space. And I was gobsmacked about that. I didn't think we would have that much surplus. What's going on there? Is it really surplus or how are you measuring that? I thought we were nicely served, but we could probably have more.
Yeah, I think the point I made before, it's not so much the quantity, it's what type it is.
Right.
And so we think about most pools in New Zealand, it's not a Waipawa specific problem, most pools in New Zealand are square rectangular things designed for lane swimming, which only about 6% of people actually do.
All right. Yeah.
And so, more leisure opportunities, warmer water, hydrotherapy, manu competitions, deeper water, those sorts of things is the point. So again, I think Waipawa does seem to be oversupplied, but it's still the question is around the type in future to be thought about. That will be outlined to staff as part of the regional plan that's, I think, coming out. I believe it's in the designers now and I think it's shared in March.
All right. Yeah. And I guess the councillors will hear about those outcomes in due
Absolutely.
course? Yeah. Excellent. Great. Okay. Now, Hinarangi, sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. Kia ora tātou. So just a comment, VR is awesome. It's super fun and something I, challenge my nieces and nephews at a lot actually. So it's awesome. But I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted when I tell you that one of the magic things about sport is the community and the friends and doing things with others. So I just want to remind you that socializing is important and that's an important part of sport and movement. So while VR is awesome, it doesn't encourage the whole doing things with your peers and socializing. So that's the first thing. And I think it's really important for our tamariki right now. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're capturing the voice of tamariki and you're capturing the voice of coaches. Are you also capturing the voice of Māori? I see you've got Sam Tuku as the kaumātua and you've got Parekawhia McLean on the board, but are you capturing the voice of Māori? And what are you doing with that, first of all? And second of all, and I raise this because Māori need to improve their health outcomes more than anyone. So movement and sport is important.
Well, absolutely. I mean, certainly from a voice, the surveys and the focus of our organisation, Councillor, are really focused more around what we have as our high depth. We're very targeted in the way that we approach our work and high deprivation, and certainly not just high deprivation, right across. Also, we've got the greater priorities which we focus on. So we don't go everywhere we used to now. And priority communities are certainly one which are identified strongly, and Māori are a very big part of that.
Sorry, I just got one more thing. Have you attended a Waka Ama event at Karapiro?
Yes, I have.
Excellent. Okay. Kapai, just wanted to make sure, otherwise I would have invited you up
Yes.
to the VIP room.
One of the biggest,
Been
one of
there
the
too.
one of the biggest, one of the biggest events I think we have in New Zealand, sport and recreation. And also the only event that has water provided for all the tamariki and rangatahi, which is really special. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's also a fast progressing sport for Māori.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest growing Māori sport in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome event, really positive. It caters to all ages. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thanks, Hinarangi. Now, Mike, and I think that'll be the last question because we're now over time.
Yeah, it was just a supplementary, really, just around the pools. So hey, there's 48 of them. I'm assuming a lot of those are school pools, but the odds, well, probably not about the odd school, but increasingly maybe schools are getting back into pools. They've decommissioned them or whatever for whatever reasons. But there's a number of schools in the last sort of 10 years that have got back on board with building new pools. And I'm just picking up on your comment there, Hayden, about it's actually not the pool, it's about the space and the best use of space for, let's just say that community. And I'm not sure if that's something schools would think about. So maybe something out to schools or the main pool builders or whatever, that, hey, if there's a school looking at building a pool, come and talk to us. Because the last thing you would actually want is like you say, a bigger version or a modern version of what we had back in the 50s. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think just to pick up on that, we know that 43% of all sport and recreation infrastructure is owned by the Ministry of Education. And so there's a real move towards how do we start to open up those spaces and to share those spaces with community, and that would obviously start to lend itself to co-design and different access arrangements so that we don't have to duplicate things. We don't want two pools. We don't want one for the school and one for the community. How might we do one?
Excellent, thank you.
Very much.
I really loved hearing all of the cool stuff that you are involved in, and fantastic contributions from everyone highlighting, you know, the importance of participation and the community and social benefits that come from sports activities as well. So thank you. Keep up the great work. Look
Thank you
forward to
very much.
hearing from you again. So I've got a resolution that the Service Delivery Committee received the report of Brad Ward, titled Sport Waikato, July to December update. Right, Mike's going to move. Who'd like to second? Lou's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. All right, so our next item is the request for new road names. So I'm expecting, here we go. Here's some wonderful staff members coming to the table. Thank you. If you could just introduce yourselves, because I'm not sure of your names, and then just lead in, because I presume, you'll just be able to speak to the item. Thank you.
Cool. Hey, I'm Brendan from Development Engineering, representing the road naming report.
And I'm Eva, here to support Brendan.
We take the report as read.
Okay, thank you. So there's a number of road names. Now, I'll take that everyone's read it, so that you're happy with those. Oh, there's 6 different names there. Any issues or queries? No? Pretty happy? Cool. All right, you're going to move then? We'd cover mover then. Okay, so Mike's going to move and Bruce is going to second. Wow.
Thank you.
All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, that was quick. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Item 8, tab 8, is the Head and Stokes Road Bent Sprint request for temporary road closure. Is it Marion?
Kia ora, good morning, everybody.
Good
Sorry.
morning and welcome. Hand over to you, to speak to your item.
Okay, you have all probably read the 3 riveting reports that I've submitted for road closures for various events. So
All right, so
I
we've
hope you were all absolutely engrossed in those. Starting with the Head and Stokes, we have had no complaints from, we advertised the Head and Stokes temporary road closure. We've had received no complaints from anybody.
excellent.
Are you folks all happy with it?
Okay, so any issues? You're happy to move Dale Marie, and Phil's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Cool. And the next one is the
Cool.
Māori
The
Regatta.
Māori Regatta
Street
Street
Parade.
Parade always sort of brings great bright sort of stuff to your mind. Again, we have received no, this precedes the Māori Cup Regatta, and we've received no complaints or
Okay, thank you.
worries
I think
about
Dale
that.
Marie's really happy about that. If she wants to move, oh, no. Happy? All right, Dale Marie's going to move, and I think this time I'll let Lou second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And then the last one, the Waipa Fun Run.
Waipai Fun Run as well. No complaints or worries about it on March like that.
Goodness me, I think I got Roger here. He wants to move. Oh, that might be I don't know, that might be a conflict of interest. No. Okay, so Roger's going to move and Philip's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Okay, Roger, we want to know what placement you get at the end of it. Yeah. You've got to report back once you've completed it. We want to know. Yep.
All selfies welcome for next year's report.
Oh, good.
Walking it, not running it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, I will be walking it, not running it. So anybody wants to join me to walk it, they'll be most welcome.
And I'll be helping with Rotary.
Oh, okay.
Watering,
Thanks.
marshalling
Excellent.
it.
All right. I hope you're happy with all that.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful day.
All right. So now we're going to pass a resolution to exclude the public. I think Andrew's going to move and Philip's going to second. All in favour,